Welcome back to Your Legal Buzz. I'm Steve Strum. This morning we have Aaron Irving from Integrity Law. Good morning.
Steve, good morning.
It's good to see you again. So we're talking about Probate.
Probate, also probate.
I was hoping
something new this morning.
The producer's not really Probate. He's more of a Lions fan, but we're getting into NFL season. Ha 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 ha. So tell us about probate. What in the world is probate, and why do we have to fight over it?
Absolutely. So probate, there's kind of a misconception or a misunderstanding about probate. In essence, when someone passes away, often we have an estate. It doesn't have to be a sizable estate. It could be a $1,000 checking account. It could be a $50,000 life insurance policy. It could be your homestead. If a person doesn't have a last will and testament or any sort of advanced documents that plan for their estate, maybe I have to do a probate. All that is just meaning that I have to go to the court, file appropriate papers, and help the court and the clients work through the system in order to award those particular assets to somebody. Even if someone has a will, it makes it a little bit easier for me to do my job. Someone's already put on paper who they want to get A, B, and C. Still might have to go to probate. I think the misconception, though, is people think lawyers are involved, there's a court system involved, people are fighting over something. And while that might happen, more often than not, that's not the case. I've probably only done a handful of truly contested probates. More often than not, it's just cut and dry. It's just a lengthy process of working through the system in order to award people those particular assets.
So people, when they hear that word, we're already in a spot that's a little sensitive. So we've lost a loved one, whether it's a husband, a wife, a mother, a father, children, and now all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, I have to. And it just becomes nerve-wracking because, people get funny sometimes when money's around.
Absolutely.
And so what do you do to help people understand or prepare for, although it's an unfortunate circumstance, talking about death in the morning, how do you help people prepare for that so that they feel more confident in what happens to their family once they're gone?
Well, two things here. First off, in the event someone passes away that's a loved one, no matter their relation to you, go talk to a lawyer. It never hurts, right? You're going to get advice over a particular issue. Maybe it's going to help sway some of that anxiety that that particular person has. The lawyer is also going to give directions to that particular client about what he or she should do to help not only themselves but the lawyer through the process of a probate. Second, it should remind people, if they already don't know this, to talk to a lawyer about getting your estate plan done. Again, estate does not mean that you have an astronomical amount of net worth necessarily. It just means, what you have presently in your possession, whether it be a home, car, life insurance policies, bank accounts. But we also talk about your advanced directives. Who is going to be in charge of your medical decisions if you're incapacitated? Who's in charge of your finances in the event that you can't do that for yourself? A lot of that pre-planning, although it's not sexy law, a lot of that pre-planning is really, really important so that your loved ones don't necessarily have to go through that added stress when they come to see me, possibly for a probate.
And if you were to pass without an estate, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's dying intestate is
Correct.
The term.
Yep.
And then that means that if you don't have a will or directives, and we have to be in state to state, so in the state of Florida, they would basically create one for you.
Yep. So there's intestate without a will, testate, which means you have a will. Both still might have to go through probate. The will, however, the testate, is obviously going to dictate where that loved one wanted their things to go. Whereas in testate, we have to follow the laws that are written, that the laws dictate, because you didn't have anything in writing. The laws dictate where you want everything to go.
And that could just be a real sticky situation if you don't want the money to go to a certain person, or if you want to preserve it for college, buying a house for kids, or if they have special needs, it could mess with Social Security.
Correct.
All kinds of stuff can happen, but a little bit of pre-planning can really go a long way, both in confidence as well as efficiency in going through the probate process.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, put it simply, let's say you have 3 children, but unfortunately you're on the outs with one of them. If you don't have an estate plan that's been done, quite possibly all 3 children would share in whatever probate assets you have, whereas if you had an estate plan done with a last will and testament, you are able to leave that child that you're on the outs with out of that document.
Lots of stuff, probably much more than we could fit into a 5-minute bucket. If people want to find out more about this process or about you, what's the best way to reach out?
So our office does a free consultation on almost any issue in the law. They can reach us at 904-224-2100 or at our website, integritylawjax.com, and there's a bright green button that says free consultation.
Well, thank you again for joining us on the show.
Thank
you. And, every time I get you, I learn something new.
Absolutely.
And every once in a while, I get something new, or I'll just make it up. Yeah. Guys, thanks for joining us on Your Legal Buzz. If you like us, share us. And remember, live with gratitude.